said I'd give you an update tonight. How's about you guys want to know what's going on with this here El Camino? So we got lots of stuff going on with El Camino. Oh yeah. Okay, so we are on our final batch of assembly for just a handful of places in this car. So I'm gonna do my best here to go over everything with you guys. So you guys saw the last updates. The glass came in and I got most of the trim kind of put on the tailgate, and you know, that stuff was kind of starting to come together. After the glass got put in, we had a handful of items that we were waiting on to get the last components installed, so we kind of pushed the pause button for a little bit to let all the parts kind of come together, and then when we jump back on the car we'll be able to pretty much knock it out. So we've got everything minus a couple of small bits to go ahead and knock this thing out, so we've been over here working on it. My mom is my interior person. She always did custom upholstery when I was a kid, and she doesn't really do it, you know, as an advertised thing anymore, but she likes to subsidize some of her income by, you know, doing a few small jobs for people, and she likes to be involved with the, you know, the family business. So she said yes to helping me out with the interior. So she's got the seats done. I've got one picture of those are coming over tomorrow. Carpet's here. She's working on putting the headliner in right now. It's been kind of a struggle. These El Camino headliners are really small in comparison to like a sedan, so when you go to stretch these out, it's a real bear to get them stretched out right. And normally she likes to do them with the glass out so that she can reach from the outside and then pull this fabric out this direction. So with the glass in place, it's just kind of a bear for her to get this stuff stretched around the corner. So she's been working it yesterday and today, and has got it most of the way there. She says she's ready to start gluing stuff in here first thing tomorrow. So she's gonna come in tomorrow and get the headliner all glued up, and then we'll put the sail panels in, the shoulder panels, and then we can lay the carpet in. I've got all of the stereo wiring pre-ran, so here's the amp wire right here. It's going to come back, and then I've got RCA's and amp trigger that I'm going to run down along the console, and then it's going to get a little subwoofer and a little amplifier back here. I've got the dash put back in. Real happy with the dash. I don't have the wiring plugged in to the firewall yet, but I've got all my pigtails ran down. So this car got Dakota digital gauges, so those are all in now. And then as part of that package, you have to wire some of the gauges, the gauge package, down to a little auxiliary, like a brain box down here. So I've got the brain box mounted in. It'll be kind of just underneath the console, and then I'm going to tuck the carpet up kind of around this box here so that you can still get to the box on the back of the console. So I've got to drop down a few of these wires off of the back of the gauges, and those got to connect into the brain box. It also came with three sensors for the engine compartment. So there's a oil pressure sender. Actually, we'll just walk up there and I'll show you. So we've got the aluminum radiator installed, and got an aftermarket aluminum big core radiator. As part of the gauge package, it came with a temperature sending unit. Oil pressure sender is buried back down in there. So it's got a new oil pressure sender in it. And then there's also a speedometer trigger. It's a digital speedometer trigger, so you have to pull the speedometer cable out and then put a sensor in there and then run a harness line back up and into the cab. And then once you get up in the cab, that's one of these wires back here. So I've got temperature, oil pressure, and then my my speed sender. So those all get plugged in down here to the box. This is for stereo. So we also did a retro sound unit in here. So everything inside here is modern update. Let's see if I can get you guys some light here. There we go. So everything in here is modernly updated. So I had to put an aftermarket light switch in because the dimmer control for the Dakota Digitals is external. So here's my dimmer control for the dash. That way you don't have to use the functionality of there's a push button right here. So you don't have to use the push button to cycle through the options for the gauges to get to the dimmer to dim it down. You can just dim it on the fly with the auxiliary dimmer. So the auxiliary dimmer, aftermarket light switch. I rewired everything back here in the back of the dash. You guys saw pictures of that. And then we deleted the center speaker, and we're putting in the retro sound unit, running it down to an amp, and then we also have some kick plates to have some 6.5-inch Rockwood Fosgate speakers that are going to go down here. So we'll have kick plate speakers and then a single sub in the back. Ran off of our retro sound unit. If you guys don't know about these retro sound units, they go in the factory hole. That way you don't have to cut the dash to get a modern stereo in here. But this has all the modern functionality of a modern stereo. So it's got Bluetooth, digital amp output, auxiliary input, preamp, MOSFET. It's got everything in here that you could want. So really nice units. I put them in a couple of rigs, and I'm glad that he did this on this one because it's really going to make it all the difference driving this thing down the road. So, well, that's all done. We'll put kick plates in after the carpet goes down. And once the carpet goes down, then we can put the console and start buttoning up all the wiring and doing all that fun stuff. Doors are done now, except for down here in the bottom where I had to patch the bottom of the doors. I've got to drill a hole for that little nub right there so I can put that nub back in there, but that's the last thing I need to do to the doors. I've got one there and one on that side to do. But windows are in. Windows all roll up and down nice. They've all been cleaned. All the seals are put in, new U-channel, new door seals. A-pillars are back in. Locks are in, handles are in. New mirrors on. Trim's done. Oh, we're looking good out here. The next step that I need to do after the interior, so she's gonna do carpet, and then we'll get seats and all that stuff in here. I have a new set of headers to put on here and rerun the exhaust. So this car has got some really cool square exhaust port cylinder heads, and from my research and on the castings, I think these are 202 Fuelie heads, and nobody makes a true square tube header. Not nobody, but they're real hard to find an actual square tube header. So I did some digging. I originally ordered some hooker competitions, but they were back ordered for a long time, so I ended up finding some hooker black hearts. You guys all know little hooker black hearts are a really good product. These are raw finish, so they're not coated with anything. I'm just going to clean them up and leave them raw, and they have the square ports that we're looking for. So the reason that we wanted to do, you can put a round port header on a square tube, on a square port cylinder head, and it'll work. But the issue you run into, let me see if I can kind of show you. I'm going to get a piece of round tube here so I can see if I can show you guys here. So you put a round, so that would be the header, and this would be the exhaust port on the cylinder head. So you can have a 2-inch round pipe and you can have 2-inch square pipe, and they'll work. But the issue that you run into is when you put this round tube header onto a square port, you can see the corners. And on a square tube, in comparison to a round tube, you actually get more internal diameter, internal volume. So if this was the gasket and we put this on top of the exhaust port, you're going to see how much of the exhaust port we're going to lose. So one, you end up restricting your exhaust flow, which these are the really nice 202 Fuelies with the 190 exhaust ports. We don't want to restrict this down. And then number two, you're relying on the gasket only to seal that. So the exhaust pressure is pushing only on the gasket. There's no flange there. There's nothing there to hold it. So will it work? Yeah, it'll work. It'd probably be okay. But you run the risk of a bunch of other stuff, blowing the gasket out, having a problem with these things sealing. You're by nature restricting the exhaust port. It's just not, it'll work, but it's just not right. And you guys know me, I strive to do it right, I guess. I was taught a different way. So we went through the pains of getting some square tube headers. So there's the Hooker Black Hearts. We are going to do those. Those have a 3-inch collector flange on them. You guys are probably already thinking in your head, yeah, cherry bombs, baby. So all the inside's modern. All the engine compartment and exhaust, that's all old. Oh, that's all old school. I'm so stoked. So yeah, we're gonna go Hooker Black Heart headers with a 3-inch collector, and then we've got some 3-inch to 2.5s that we're gonna put on here. Okay, so that's gonna do that. Okay, good. Copy. All right, then we're gonna come over here. I think they're over here. We're gonna come over here, and we're gonna get us a V-band, and we're gonna get us a exhaust hanger. Okay, and then this V-band, this is gonna go here like that. This V-band's gonna go here like that. Bloop. And then this pipe is gonna go here like that. Bloop. And then we're gonna run these out like this, and then those are gonna come out back here, and we're gonna go right out here and maybe do a little turn down, maybe do a little action, do something back here, but them pipes are gonna come out right there in front of that rear tire. Whoop. Old school, baby. I love it. I was so excited for this car. So there's the exhaust system. We're gonna do headers, 1 3/4 primaries, 3-inch to 2.5, 2.5 out, good to go. There's your exhaust system. Okay, so we did exhaust. We did interior, we did dash, we did stereo. Speaking of stereo, there's our little Rockford Fosgate subwoofer. It's gonna go back there. And then we've got, oh, they're hiding in the back table, huh? Okay, we'll go around the other side. We'll go around the bug eye. The bug eye's gonna go home. Don't you guys worry about that. She's going bye-bye. Yeah, this is the box we needed. Yeah. Custom kick plates with a 6.5-inch Rockford. So those are gonna go down there. And that'll make the sound system. Okay? Okay? Okay. Heater box, that we didn't talk about. Heater box is in, heater controls are in, everything works good. And I've got the heater seal kit glued down. That was fun. I had to weather strip adhesive it to the box and to the interior box, but it's all happy and stuck, so we've got all good seals in the heater. They had already done a heater core before I got it, so that's good. Yeah, there's console, shifter, cool. Engine compartment. So after we hang the headers, we're going to replace radiator hoses. I've got some new radiator hoses, and then I have some braided stainless to go over them to sleeve them. So I'll sleeve those, and actually I think I have enough sleeve to maybe do the heater hoses too. So we'll stainless those and replace that. New headers, and then we got a bunch of Oh god. Yeah, Roger, remember we were talking about these yesterday? Yeah, this isn't, it's not yours. Yeah, I deal with this a lot. So yeah, we're gonna do that. We'll fix up those wiring. We're gonna delete this stuff because this is the factory temp gauge, factory oil pressure sender. That stuff can all get, you know, deleted out of the harness. We'll probably do new plug wires just because these have been pulled and prodded and pushed and all that good stuff. Motor was freshly rebuilt, so there's not much we got to do there. I'll put the fan shroud back on, hook the coolant up, put some coolant in it. I don't think we're going to run an overflow tank. He's not going to run this car hard, so I don't think we're going to need it. Yeah, that pretty much takes care of that. I just got to throw the cowl cover on and the windshield wipers and get some new blades for the windshield wipers, and that'll all be fun and happy. Lighting. We didn't talk about lighting. I didn't talk about lighting, Steven. I couldn't do it, and I've had this go down with a few of my restorations here in the last 4 or 5 years, and we've made this like, should we do it, should we not do it, is it a good idea, is it worth the cost, like this game that I always play on, you know, buying parts for your guys' rig. I made the executive decision and I'm upgrading the entire car to LED. So every bulb in the car is going to be LED now. It's got LED amber flashers, LED headlights, LED brake lights, LED markers, LED interior, LED gauges, LED stereo, modern lighting. I just couldn't do it when you told me that you wanted to let the girl and her significant other drive this thing around for a little bit. I just couldn't let it go with the shitty old school lighting. So there you go. Just appreciate you, Steven. I think you're gonna be real happy with this when it's done. So new lenses are in, new trims in. I cleaned these up, new LED bulbs. The grill came with the top and bottom trim. This car came with the extra centerpieces, so I removed these from the factory grill and then installed them onto this grill. Customer special request is we didn't put any emblems in it, so he just wanted it chrome and black. There you go, chrome and black. LED, LED. Good to go. Tomorrow I'm going to get the reverse lights done and the tail lights. I don't want to put the lenses in until I check the conductivity on all the lights to make sure that the lights are right. On an LED, it's not like an incandescent. You actually have to put negative to negative and positive to positive on an LED or it won't illuminate. On a incandescent bulb, it doesn't matter. It just needs to have the loop closed, and when the loop's closed, the light will illuminate. So I gotta make sure that I don't have any bulbs that need a little flipperooski before I put the lenses on. Otherwise, I'll take the lenses off, flip the bulb, put the lens back on. Yeah, no. Gas tank door, it's over here ready to go. A-pillar covers, those will be last. I have one stud that's sitting on the desk in the office that I got to change here. We broke a stud once upon a time, so I got a new stud for that. And then the beauty rings, he's got a whole new set of beauty rings over here for the car. Somewhere. I think I put them on a shelf. Put them on a shelf? No, they're not on that shelf. They should have been on a table. Not on a table. Are they under the car? No, not under the car. If I was a box of beauty rings, where would I be? By the fire? That's where I should be. No, no, whatever. He's got new beauty rings for it. So we got the original rally wheels. Those are the original rally wheel covers. Super rare, super hard to find. And then he's got a aftermarket set of beauty rings to go on it, and that'll finish that off. The bumpers were both hammered garbage, and we kind of thought maybe they would survive, but you look at that, and look at that, that, and that, and that. And it's not gonna work. So, new rear bumper, new front bumper, good to go. Cool. We got an air cleaner to put on it because we had one of these crappy Edelbrock air cleaners. It always sucks the foam down in the engine. Yeah, it did that, and so we're getting rid of that. We got a new one to put on. Yeah. So in a nutshell, we're gonna finish up the interior. Headliner first, then carpet, door panels, sail panels, shoulder panels, kick panels, center console, shifter, dash cap, hook the wiring up, clean it out, put the seats in, hook the stereo up. Cool, interior done. Back here, I need to put the reverse lights in and test them. Once that's done, then I can put the bed panel back on and then touch up around the edge where we cut it off, and that'll be done. Bolts are over here on the table. I already got one tail light in. I'm gonna put the other tail light in and check the bulbs. I'll do that probably with the reverse lights tomorrow. And then bed's all done. Aside from that, got the handle on. That's done. Doors are done. I do need to get in here and figure out how I'm gonna wiggle the antenna into place, because I forgot to put the antenna in before I put the fender on when I was painting it. I put the fender on at the paint shop and didn't think about the antenna, so I got to get in there and wiggle that in there at the same time as I put the engine compartment side of the heater box in and the heater fan. Trim's all done. The car's been cut and rubbed once, but it doesn't have what we call the fluff and buff, the final little detail, final little kiss on everything. So you see a little swirls here and some fine scratches and, you know, just some touch-up stuff that we need to do. But until we get it fully assembled, there's no reason to make it super nice and super shiny, because you're going to bump into it and mar it and scratch it. So that's where we are on that. Engine compartment I feel really good about. I don't really have a whole bunch of work left to do. Most of the hours up here is just going to be going through the wiring and fixing up the wiring and securing it all. We'll pop the power off the distributor and spin this motor over a bunch, build some oil pressure, get some fluids running around back in it again, and then we'll plug the power back in and put some fresh gas in her and we'll fire on the hole. It seems like and feels like that I'm just a handful of days away, you know, working days away from having this thing pretty much buttoned up and on the road. But like I try to tell the customers and anybody that's in a position of having your rig worked on, the last 10% of the job from this stage forward, like we're almost there, right? This car's almost done. That last 10 or 15% can sometimes take 40% or 50% of the time to put it together of the overall project, just because there's so much tiny little stuff that you got to be really careful with not to scratch it. As an example, we had a little boo-boo up here, and it was bad, and I saved it. Everything's good, but things can happen very easily when you've got them in this condition. So you really got to take your time and make sure that you're not rushing and doing something you shouldn't have been doing. And that's what I was doing this morning when I had a problem, but we fixed it, so that's cool. So anyway, I feel like I'm starting to ramble a little bit, but you guys seem to like my rambling, so I'm gonna stop now before I lose you. I appreciate you guys all being here and keeping up to date with the projects. I was given a warning when I came into this new shop over here that if I open the front door, be prepared for walk-ins, and that has held very true. So thank you for that warning, Cody. You're right. Don't open the door, you're gonna have a bunch of people here. So appreciate you guys. As soon as we kind of get a few more steps, I want to let my mom finish up the interior on this at the very least before I break away from it again. And then Mr. Dodge will be right here behind it. You guys can see him already blocked out on the door. It's installed, it's straight, roof's already sanded. The truck's pretty much prepped and ready for me to clean it and start spraying stuff. Bed liner will be here tomorrow, so I'll prep bed liner and then paint bed liner, detail, open the doors up, and then she'll be pretty close to going home. So give me a couple 3 weeks and I should be able to rotate 2 of my 3 out of here and rotate 2 or 3 or maybe even 4 more in. So, thank you guys so much for being here. None of this is possible without you. Like you, like not the other guy, you sitting here watching me right now. So appreciate you if you make it this far. Thanks for watching me. Thanks for supporting me. And you guys take care. we'll see you on the next one.